In history, the most unprincipled superpower school makes a grand appearance. There are the most diverse and bizarre meta-humans in the world here, a crazy girl who can control menstrual blood, a counterfeit Ant-Man who can infinitely grow larger, shrink smaller, and become more beautiful, but she doesn't have a high-tech retractable battlesuit, and can only prevent nudity anytime and anywhere. Do you think these abilities are strange enough? There is also an androgynous hero who can switch genders at will. If you like the dark and satisfying elements of The Boys, you must not miss this spin-off, Gen V. Before the story begins, let's first introduce the setting. This drama revolves around Godolkin University, the only teenage superhero university in the United States. This university is operated by Vought International, which specifically admits students with superpowers. They compete with each other to earn credits and boost their performance records, all just to join the superhero Seven-a-Side group. The female protagonist Marie accidentally awakened her ability to control blood during her first period in puberty. Her parents lost their lives in the chaos. In order to master her ability and find her missing younger sister, Marie enrolled in Godolkin University. Here, she met many partners and enemies. She discovered the shocking secret of the school's underground laboratory, where human experiments are being conducted. It turns out they are not born with superpowers, but became superpowered individuals by injecting Compound V. They are just ridiculous test subjects. As for those failed superpowered individuals, they are imprisoned as experimental subjects, and subjected to inhumane torture. The mastermind behind all this is precisely Vought Corporation. They want to create stronger and more obedient superheroes. At the end of the previous season, Kate, who has the ability of mind control, teamed up with Sam, who was imprisoned in the basement. They released all the experimental subjects in the laboratory, causing the university to fall into chaos. Unexpectedly, Homelander came in person to quell the riot, and arrested Marie and her friends. He recruited Kate and Sam into his camp. The story of the new season begins against this backdrop. Early 1967, at this time, Compound V had just been developed, and was injected and used by several researchers without being tested. The drug caused dramatic chemical reactions in their bodies. Some melted on the spot, some had their stomachs explode, some burned into fireballs, and some grew tentacles from their butts. The entire laboratory turned into a ridiculous freak show. A big fire almost destroyed all the semi-finished products. Dr. Thomas Godolkin struggled to crawl towards the door. Today's Godolkin University is named after him. At this time, the superhuman Starlight had already betrayed the Seven along with Robert, and became known as a traitor among people. President Calhoun entrusted full responsibility for superhero affairs to Homelander. On this day, Emma and Jordan, who had been detained in the Rehabilitation Center, were dragged onto a transport vehicle, with no idea where they were being taken. Both of them are friends of the female protagonist, Marie. Blonde-haired Emma can grow or shrink at will, but the price of using her ability is inducing vomiting and binge eating. The black-haired man next to her is named Jordan. He is intersex and can switch genders freely. In his male form, he is invulnerable. In his female form, he is agile and can unleash energy waves. The two originally thought they were going to be dragged away to be executed, but when the door opened, it turned out to be Kate. She is now selected by Homelander and feels very proud. However, because of this choice, Kate has also lost these friends who fought alongside her. In order to win them back, Kate begged a lot of people at Vought to get Emma and Jordan out. At this moment, a fat woman named Stella walked over. She is the director of student life. She was going to take Emma and Jordan to a short press conference. Stella had already prepared a speech script. The two just needed to read it as it was. Although they didn't know what kind of press conference it was, Emma didn't want to go back to the Rehabilitation Center. So the two got dressed up and were pushed in front of the cameras, and dealt with the media by reading from the script. The general meaning of the speech was roughly, Jordan and Emma are also Kate's friends. Together, they destroyed the underground lab The Woods, and rescued their fellow superhumans from the former principal's brutal rule. As for being detained by Homelander earlier, it was all a misunderstanding, and now they have been exonerated.
Where are the other two? Where's Andre Anderson? Where's Marie Moreau?
Marie and Andre are also part of the main cast. A few months ago, Marie escaped while being detained, and no one knows where she is now. Agent Grace, the new dean, took the stage to speak. He announced that the Woods project had been terminated, and all remaining viruses had been destroyed. They could no longer trust humans, especially Supes who betrayed like Starlight. From this speech, it's clear that the conflict between humans and Supes has completely intensified. Jordan recognized that this dean had appeared in the Woods laboratory before. Is he good or bad? And why did he become the dean? Emma investigated Agent Grace's background, and only found out that he had worked at Vought's Mexico City office for a few years, with no information available about anything else. They couldn't even find out what Agent Grace's superpower was. This guy isn't simple. Kate went to press the dean for Andre's whereabouts, because when she probed Jordan's mind, she saw Andre's dead body. The two had a romantic relationship in the previous season, so Kate had to find out the truth about Andre. Unfortunately, the dean refused to reveal anything. Kate originally wanted to secretly use her mind-reading ability, but the dean grabbed her wrist and stuck it into a running blender. He warned Kate not to forget who was in charge. If you really want to know what happened to Andre, hurry up and find Marie's whereabouts. Marie was near a gas station owned by Vought. She couldn't even scrape together enough money for a few snacks. Fortunately, a guy helped her make up the difference. Marie had been hiding in a hotel, pretending to be from Child Protective Services, and she asked everywhere for the whereabouts of her younger sister, Anna. But unfortunately, she found nothing. She turned on the TV, and happened to see the news that Jordan and Emma had their school status reinstated. Marie felt a little down because her friends had compromised with Vought. The next day, she walked onto the street. She saw a group of people driving away Starlight supporters. The guy being bullied was exactly the one who had helped her the night before. Marie went over to help right away, but one of the men slapped Marie away. Little did they know that in the next second, the blood at the corner of her mouth condensed into a blade and flew towards the thugs. Immediately after, Marie drew the bearded man's blood, turned it into a whip, and lashed out at the crowd. It didn't take long to defeat them. The superpower to control blood is very rare. The guy was just about to ask, "Are you the one from Godolkin?" when Marie said, "You have never seen me before." Shortly after she left, Tracker came chasing after her by following her scent. This type of soup is just like a dog, with extraordinary tracking abilities.
You're gonna have to buy that, bro.
Marie didn't know she was being targeted. At this moment, she returned to the hotel and hurried to wash the blood off her hands. The next second, Tracker broke down the door and burst in. Marie sensed someone was there. She hid behind the door and launched a surprise attack on Tracker, but the guy was actually unscathed. When he fought back, he dropped the syringe in his hand. Marie was no match for him. She quickly slit her palm and used her blood as a weapon, wrapped it around Tracker's neck and took him down. Marie grabbed his head and pushed it into the toilet. Tracker felt for the flush lever and pushed Marie away. The two fought fiercely inside the hotel. Tracker also pulled a taser out of his pocket. Marie grabbed something at random and smashed it over, knocking the taser out of his hand. With great force, Tracker tackled Marie to the ground. He picked up the syringe and was about to stab her in the neck. At the critical moment, a burst of energy wave suddenly knocked Tracker flying. Marie looked up and saw it was Starlight who had come to her aid. Starlight wouldn't risk revealing herself without reason. She hoped Marie would accept the school's terms like Jordan and Emma, and return to Godolkin. That place was the safest for Marie. Starlight hoped Marie would go undercover at the school to do her a favor. Dr. Thomas Godolkin, the founder, was once Fred Vaught's right-hand man. He led the launch of a project called Project Odessa. Starlight believed that was the main reason Godolkin founded Godolkin University. Recently, there were reports that Vought was restarting this project. Starlight hoped Marie would go back to Godolkin to investigate and find out the truth. Marie refused. She didn't want to go back to that school. Right now, Marie only wanted to find her younger sister, and had no desire to get involved in this nonsense of saving the world.
You're good. You're a hero even. They can't stay out of this fight forever.
Emma arrived at Andre's house. She almost got hit and killed by someone. Andre's father, Polaris, was listlessly chugging alcohol while wearing a bathrobe. Obviously he had already heard about Andre's tragic death. He didn't want to get involved in Godolkin's or Vaught's mess anymore. Emma hurriedly explained about the new dean, Agent Grace. "I saw him at the Rehabilitation Center. There must be something fishy going on behind this, but we don't know what it is. Have you ever heard of this person at all?" Polaris was grieving over his son's death. He couldn't listen to Emma and even shoot her out. Emma held back her anger and said that if it were Andre, he would never give up easily. A group of idlers in the school reactivated the fraternity founded by the Deep. It's nothing more than getting wealthy and influential students together to drink, hit on girls, and throw parties. Jordan was sitting at the bar counter drinking. Behind him was a guy whose superpower was related to his butt, who was drinking alcohol with his butt. Jordan had had enough of this guy's grandstanding. This punch was really impressive. Besides Jordan, Emma was also at the party. Being rejected by Polaris had already made her irritable. Sam then came over with his new girlfriend. Just in case anyone doesn't know, Sam and Emma had a relationship in the first season, but their relationship has now completely broken down. Sam himself has a mental illness, and now he is overly dependent on Kate's mind control ability. He can't control his emotions, let alone tell right from wrong. Emma had a fight with him, and when she lost control of her emotions, her body actually shrank. She couldn't exactly run out of the party naked. She looked around and saw a set of mascot clothes. Being clear-headed only adds to her troubles. Emma only wants to get dead drunk. Just then, two guys were discussing the attack involving Starlight's fans. The video of Marie teaching the bearded man a lesson was posted online by a bystander. Emma quickly grabbed their phone and pushed through a crowd of partygoers to find Jordan. She struggled to flip the screen over and told Jordan, "I found Marie. The crime scene is in Weehawken, only a 40-minute drive from here." Emma wants to go find Marie. Jordan doesn't understand why she's so obsessed with finding Marie. Back then, we were all locked up in the Rehabilitation Center. And it was Marie who left everyone behind and fled alone, abandoning her friends and leaving them to their own devices. Since she wants to hide, why should we look for her? Emma didn't bother to argue with Jordan. "If you won't go, I'll go by myself." Jordan couldn't bear to see Emma risk danger alone, so he had to chase after her. Kate, hiding in the shadows, heard their conversation. As soon as Emma and Jordan arrived in Weehawken, they found Marie near the gas station, before the two of them could even confront her. Marie blamed Jordan and Emma for compromising with the school. As for leaving them behind and fleeing alone, that's because Marie had a chance to run. Anyone else would have taken that chance, Jordan retorted. "Did you even know that Andre is dead? It happened right after you fled." Andre discovered a metal maintenance pipe. He wouldn't abandon his companions, so he waited for the right moment to call Jordan and Emma. However, when the three of them arrived, the pipe had already been blocked with bricks. The area was full of guards and hunting dogs. Andre tried to tear open a larger steel door. His ability is similar to Magneto's power to control metal, but far less powerful. That steel door drained Andre of all his superpowers. He never recovered and died just like that. Kate showed up and said that she didn't want to lose any more friends, so she wanted to persuade Marie to go back to school. Before she could finish speaking, Kate sensed that Marie had talked to Starlight not long ago. If Vought finds out about this, it'll be a disaster. Kate wanted to take Marie away quickly. Jordan attacked instinctively, causing Kate to hit her head and crack her skull. Marie needs physical contact to help stabilize her condition. But since physical contact is the trigger for Kate's mind control, Marie didn't dare to touch her. The three of them ignored Kate's pleas for help and fled the scene in a hurry. This accident forced Marie to find a way to return to Godolkin, for fame was her only defense. The more famous Marie is, the less Vought can afford to make her disappear. So Marie posted a video on social media, in which she explained that she had experienced mental health issues before, and that she was now ready to return to Godolkin University. The dean wouldn't refuse the return of a student with strong abilities. What's more, he knew that Marie felt guilty about Andre's death, so he deliberately revealed the truth about Andre's physical condition. In fact, just like his father Polaris, every time he used his superpowers, his nervous system would suffer slight tears. So when Andre tried to move the steel door, he already knew what fate awaited him. This truth made Marie feel even worse. Then the dean dropped another bombshell. He said Kate had been attacked the night before, and had undergone 6 hours of surgery in the hospital, and was still in a coma. Marie quickly informed her friends of this news. Emma suggested, "What if we go to the hospital and kill Kate?" This idea wasn't feasible. What's more, Marie thought the dean already knew they were the ones who did it, but she just didn't understand why he turned a blind eye to it. Sam went to the hospital to visit Kate. Kate suddenly grabbed the nurse beside her.
"They let me die. How could they? Emma, help me."
Emma.
The next second, the nurse gouged out a colleague's eyes. Staff members came running at the sound. As for whether Sam would suspect Emma, meanwhile, inside Godolkin University, Jordan saw Andre's medical records in Marie's room, and only then learned about their friend's physical condition, and was about to argue with Marie again, when the director of student life suddenly burst in.
It's Honey. What?
It turns out the director of student life is a bee-human. She came to inform the two of them to attend the Hero Optimization Seminar as soon as possible. The participants of this course are personally selected by the dean to help them better understand and master their superpowers. Only the learning method is quite brutal. The dean pointed to the button ahead, saying that as long as they pressed that button, the class would end. After speaking, he released Hammerhead Vic.
Ready to feel my hammer, Marie?
At the critical moment, it was Jordan who took the lead and rushed forward, but he was no match for Vic right now. Firecracker assisted Mary in reaching for the button, but she had terrible aim. Vic was having a great time taking them down one by one with his hammer. Marie slit her palm and used a blood whip to tie up Vic's right hand. Vic twisted his wrist and pulled her flying through the air. Jordan quickly shifted to his female form and unleashed an energy wave. He frequently switched between male and female forms to buy Mary time, but he couldn't hold on long before being thrown against the wall by Vic. Marie was enraged. She reached out to control the blood supply to Vic's heart. Vic immediately felt like he was having a heart attack. He could only clench his fist and pound his chest to help his organs keep beating, and stepped forward to grab Mary by the throat. Fortunately, Jordan pressed the button in time, and the class ended. The dean explained that only pressure can unlock potential. I will inform you of the time for the second class soon. The sudden violent class somehow helped repair Mary and Jordan's relationship. Both of them missed the days when they had each other's company. Jordan also admitted that she actually knew Andre's death had nothing to do with Mary's escape.
I think it's easier for me to be angry with you than to be terrified of losing you.
Anyway, the two finally made up, returned to how they were before, and reconciled their romantic relationship. At the same time, Emma was in the cafeteria looking for something to eat, and happened to see Rufus bullying a human staff member. She helped drive away this annoying guy, then took out a handful of pills and took them. Unexpectedly, Polaris suddenly came up to her, and asked why she was abusing drugs on campus. Emma explained that these were Valium to relieve anxiety. Then she asked Polaris why he had come to Godolkin. This is all thanks to the sincere words Emma had said earlier, which made Polaris realize that he really couldn't stay in his slump any longer. So he came to apply to be a teacher at Godolkin. Emma was very happy to have an adult to help her. The top priority now was to investigate Project Odessa. Polaris took Emma to the Godolkin University archives. He awkwardly tried to be friendly with the person in charge and said, "Long time no see, wasn't the last time we met at the Vought summer club. I just took office as the vice dean of the marketing school recently, and I'm conducting research on Thomas Godolkin, together with the teaching assistants, so I want to access some materials."
And actually, the last time we saw each other was May 21st, 2005, 3:36 p.m. at a casting office across from the Sherman Oaks Cheesecake Factory.
You're sporting a high-top fade and doused in Calvin Klein obsession, and you told me that my preparation age had leaked to the back of my salmon.
In short, thanks to Polaris' so-called kind reminder, the person in charge messed up that audition, so getting into the archives was out of the question. When Emma saw Polaris was frustrated, she stepped forward and said to the person in charge, "I'm a diehard fan of your radio show, but that radio show only had 8 listeners, and got cancelled after just a few episodes." But Emma wasn't lying. She knew the radio lines by heart. It was obvious she had actually listened to the show. The person in charge rarely met a fan, so he made an exception and let them into the archives. By this time, Polaris finally figured out that what Emma was taking was either Valium or stimulants, and the effect of the drugs even helped them out, because the files in the archives were piled up like a mountain. It was hard to find the information they needed in a short time. Thanks to Emma hearing the sound of the exhaust fan, Polaris realized there was a hidden room here. He endured the pain of nerve tearing and opened the secret door. Inside, it was filled with various souvenirs with fascist symbols, which looked very strange, and Emma soon found the Odessa files, but they were all just birth certificates.
I know what Odessa is.
Emma got so excited that her body suddenly grew several times larger. Now, in addition to binge eating and purging, emotional fluctuations can also trigger her transformation. The person in charge heard the alarm and rushed over to check. When he saw the naked, enlarged version of Emma, he thought the two were up to some weird business, so he quickly apologized and turned to leave. At the same time, Sam was still preoccupied with what Kate had said. He grabbed a guy from the fraternity and asked if Emma had acted strangely at the party. Unexpectedly, another guy nearby cut in angrily, saying Emma had stolen his phone that day, and spent $90 of his money on a taxi to Weehawken, and Weehawken was where Kate was attacked. Sam immediately went to confront Emma. "Kate did her best to get you out of the rehabilitation center. You can't treat her like that." Emma was left speechless. Don't let someone sell you out and still help them count the money. "It was Kate who got us locked up in the first place. She brainwashed not only your brother, but also you. Sooner or later, you'll have to face everything you've done." After saying that, Emma was about to go find Marie. Little did she know that Marie was having a sweet moment with Jordan, and had accidentally said "I love you." Jordan's reaction was extremely awkward. Just then, a noisy commotion came from outside. They ran out and saw that the person who attacked Kate had been arrested. The news said it was done by a group of Starlight's fans. When Marie looked at the suspect's photo, she realized it was the black guy who had helped her pay for snacks earlier. It was a pity the tracker shot him dead on the street. Vought's methods were despicable. they directly used Kate's attack to intensify the conflict between humans and Supes. Just then, Emma ran over in a hurry, saying she had found out what Odessa was.
Who's you?
You're Odessa.
It turns out there are about 25 infant birth certificates in this stack of documents, and one of them belongs to Marie. Besides hers, all the others are marked as deceased. Starlight said Odessa is a weapon. Could it be that she's referring to Marie? To get to the bottom of this, Marie plans to ask Aunt Pam, since she is also in that birth photo. Pam is Marie's mother's best friend. Ever since Marie lost control of her powers and killed her parents, Pam has refused to communicate with her, leaving Marie to suffer in Red River Orphanage, while instead, she kept trying to adopt Anna, so their relationship isn't good at all. Marie doesn't know if the other party is willing to meet her. What's more, after she blurted out "I love you" to Jordan last night, their relationship has become extremely awkward. Jordan not only didn't respond, but also kept avoiding this topic. Soon after, they noticed that Jordan's posters were hung on the school's lampposts, with a design showing her switching between male and female forms side by side. Only after asking did Jordan find out that her approval rating had risen, and she had become the top-ranked student at Godolkin. The security director even planned a celebration speech for her. Later, Marie received a reply from Aunt Pam, who agreed to meet her again. In addition, another major event happened at Godolkin College. That is, Kate was finally discharged from the hospital, but she still looked very weak, and even seemed to have symptoms of PTSD. She looked lost and overwhelmed amid the crowd of fans. As soon as Kate arrived at the door, she ran into Marie and the others. Different from when she tried to make peace before, her eyes were filled with hatred. As soon as Kate came back, she was pulled into the dean's private class. Watching Agent Grace pay special attention to Marie, Kate felt more and more unhappy. She privately found the dean, and demanded that he reveal the truth to the public, that Marie and her group were the ones who attacked her. The dean immediately refused. Telling Vought is the same as telling Homelander, and when that time comes, you'll have to tell everything. Are you going to tell them that you were attacked and lost your mind control ability? Once Kate becomes an ordinary human, she will lose her status at Vought. The dean said that what you should do now is strive to regain your powers, because your value in this world depends entirely on your superpowers. Without your powers, you're nothing. On the other side, after talking with Emma, Sam became even more anxious. His new girlfriend, seeing that this relationship didn't help boost her popularity, broke up with Sam without hesitation. Fortunately, Sam himself didn't care. Whenever his mental state collapses, he has very vivid hallucinations. The sandwich in front of him turned into a stuffed doll that kept spewing profanities. Sam picked it up and threw it into the trash can, and the entire world turned into a cartoon style. Sam had to hurry to find Kate for help. At this moment, Kate was hiding in her dorm, took off her hat, and revealed the ugly scar on the top of her head. A section of her hair had been shaved off, and her entire left forearm was fitted with a plastic prosthetic. Kate was drowning in sorrow. Suddenly, a hurried knock came from outside the door. She quickly put her hat back on to cover her arm and opened the door for Sam. Sam begged Kate to help dispel the chaotic thoughts in his mind.
The doctors don't want me using my powers right now.
You've done this a million fucking times!
I know! Hey, don't!
Kate couldn't let anyone know she had lost her powers. She couldn't comfort Sam either. At the same time, the director of student life handed the school-assigned car and the prepared speech script to Jordan. In her own words, this speech was absolutely brilliant. It not only looks back on Godolkin's past legends, but also bravely looks forward to the future. Most importantly, it could also take advantage of Jordan's special gender identity to gain a wave of public favor. But Jordan didn't want to read this speech in front of the public at all.
Unlike you, there's only one side to this coin, and there is no no. Learn the fucking speech, say it with a smile.
When Jordan returned to the dorm building, he saw Sam going crazy right there. If this goes on, he'll almost tear the dorm down. Jordan hurried forward to grab him but was thrown into the next room by Sam. The two started fighting without exchanging a word. When Jordan came to his senses, he found a naked man lying on the floor in this room. Before he could figure out what was going on, he was knocked out of the dorm building by Sam. Jordan had no intention of continuing to fight with him, and told Sam to calm down quickly. The latter collapsed weakly onto the lawn. He couldn't control his frantic mind. Might as well end his own life like his brother did. Jordan comforted Sam and told him not to think nonsense. Your brother loves you so much, he wouldn't want you to hurt yourself, and there have already been enough people who died. Sam gradually calmed down and even took Jordan to watch cartoons with him. When they were kids, he and his brother often watched cartoons together. Even though his brother Luke was already past the age of watching cartoons, he would still make time to be with Sam every Saturday without fail. So cartoons make Sam feel safe and calm. Sam's words touched Jordan deeply.
I would give anything
for 5 more minutes.
Whether it was Luke or Andre, people always only realize how to cherish someone after losing them. Maybe they should hold on to the people right in front of them, not be stingy with love, and respond to Marie's confession. Cut to the scene. Diane, the human girl Emma had helped before, came to work at Godolkin. Here, human employees had to wear special ID badges and go through designated passages for inspections. The security guard was a soup with X-ray vision. Every time he scanned Diane, he deliberately prolonged the time to satisfy his perverted desires. Diane could only endure the humiliation and go to work as usual, but someone kept sticking Starlight resistance symbols on her stall, which made those anti-human students very resentful. A fat man spat acidic saliva into her coin jar and took Diane's cookies without paying. Just then, Emma walked into the cafeteria, and also saw someone had sprayed resistance slogans on the blackboard. Emma went to Diane's stall to buy a cake, but Diane suddenly let out a whimper. It turned out someone had stuck another resistance symbol on her stall again. Diane had cleaned off countless such symbols this morning, but as soon as she tore them off, new ones would appear in just a few minutes. Even the cameras couldn't catch who was doing it. Since the relationship between humans and soups had deteriorated, different people came to intimidate Diane every day, making her lose hair frantically. She had suffered 4 or 5 panic attacks in 3 days, but the job at Godolkin paid well, so Diane couldn't quit easily. Upon hearing this, Emma offered to help her find out who was playing the prank. The ones who could pull off tricks quietly and unnoticed were nothing more than invisible people, speedsters, and teleporters. Just as Emma was thinking about who was the most likely culprit, she saw a figure zoom past. The answer was revealed. It was a speedster behind it all. She didn't hesitate to chase after them and burst into the men's locker room, only to be blasted away by a naked soup who could start fires. She lost track of the speedster and had to go to class. Unexpectedly, she noticed the girl sitting in front of her had yellow paint on her hands. It was clearly from spray painting, and it was the striking Starlight yellow. Emma followed the girl named Harper out of the classroom. When Harper saw Emma making a fuss in the hallway, she pulled Emma into a utility room. Harper admitted that although she had a tail, her superpower wasn't as silly as just having a tail. Harper had a chameleon-like ability to copy others' superpowers, though it only lasted for 60 seconds. After saying this, she lightly touched Emma, and sure enough, she shrank instantly, and returned to normal after 60 seconds. Harper admitted she had joined the Starlight supporters group, and could only beg Emma not to tell anyone. Emma wouldn't snitch, but she asked to meet Harper's accomplices. Upon hearing this, Harper took Emma back to her dorm, and introduced her to her accomplice and roommate, Ellie. The two planned that during lunchtime the next day, they would use acidic yellow paint to spray paint the word fascist on Homelander's statue, and then distribute flyers in the faculty parking lot. Emma admired their courage, but these small gestures were both stupid and useless. You obviously have more options.
We're not heroes.
I used to think like that. But somebody believed in me.
It was Andre who inspired Emma, giving her the courage to resist everything. Now Emma also wants to be like Andre, inspiring more people to stand up and oppose Vought, to tell them that everyone can be a hero. Meanwhile, as Emma was making new friends, Marie arrived at the door of Aunt Pam's house, unexpectedly. Aunt Pam was very polite, but right away, she said she had a book club in half an hour, which meant Marie should get to the point and not waste her time. Marie first asked about the whereabouts of her younger sister Anna. Aunt Pam, as always, didn't know anything, so Marie had to get to the point and ask if Aunt Pam still remembered that photo, and accidentally found out a secret she didn't know. She was a test tube baby. Aunt Pam explained, "Your parents tried for many years but couldn't get pregnant. They couldn't afford the cost of test tube baby treatment either. It wasn't until Vought came to them and offered to cover all the surgery costs that they took your mom to Godolkin University Hospital. Then a miracle happened. You were born." As it happens, Aunt Pam still had quite a few photos from the hospital. Marie looked through photos of her parents and unexpectedly saw Dean Agent Grace. She hurriedly asked, "Why is this man holding me?" Aunt Pam found it a bit funny and explained, "He's the one who delivered you. What's so strange about him holding you?" Marie realized that even her birth might be a conspiracy, but Aunt Pam's words at least proved one thing. Her parents didn't inject her with Compound V for money. They had to cooperate with Vought only because they wanted a child of their own. Marie asked to use Aunt Pam's bathroom to calm down, and noticed the guest bedroom door was open. The room inside was decorated very warmly. There was even Anna's birthday card on the table. Marie immediately realized Aunt Pam had lied to her, and Anna had lived here before.
All these years you kept her from me? Do you know how fucked up that is?
Marie, we were afraid of you. You massacred your parents.
Marie felt an overwhelming chill upon hearing this. When the incident happened, she had just had her first period. She was a child who knew nothing at all, with no right to choose. It was her parents and Vought who injected her with compound V, so Marie wasn't the one responsible for that accident. She was the unluckiest victim of it all. Yet here Pam was, saying she had murdered her own parents. Since they were talking past each other, there was no point in saying more. Marie left Pam's house right away. Before long, the celebration held for Jordan began. Today was also the 60th anniversary of Godolkin University's founding. A large number of students, faculty, and staff had gathered on the playground. As usual, the dean started with some inspirational remarks. Jordan took the opportunity to pull Marie aside, and made his long-overdue confession of love, even though he was terrified of saying those words. Who knew what would happen tomorrow? Jordan only wanted to seize the present and leave no regrets. After the two confessed their feelings to each other, Jordan was invited onto the stage by the dean to speak. He had intended to read the script prepared by the director of student life, but halfway through, he realized he couldn't go against his own conscience. Jordan glanced at Marie, then turned to the crowd and admitted that Andre had died.
Starlighters didn't attack Kate. I did.
If he were standing here today, he would definitely want me to tell the truth. Andre died trying to save us, and Vought doesn't want you to know that. They even lied to the public, claiming that Starlight's fans were the culprits behind Kate's attack, and cruelly killed those scapegoats. That's all for the story of the latest episode of Gen V. For friends who are interested in this show, don't forget to like, save, and follow us. Stay updated on the latest release news in a timely manner. Your encouragement is the driving force behind our updates.